We have the yoga ball out today because today's theme is movement. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Runnah, your favorite local running community. I'm Juliana, and welcome back, my bendy friends, to our Bendy Series, where we are talking about what it's like and tips and tricks for being a runner with EDS. Myrtle is here, and she would just like to remind you, yes, you, to subscribe to the channel because it means a lot to me, it means a lot to Myrtle, and it means that you get to tune in here to Runnah every week, twice a week, for free. So go ahead. Hit that subscribe button. It's right down here. Boop, 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 bing. Okay, very nice. Thank you for doing that. Love you lots. Yay. So today we are in part 2 of our Bendy series, which is a series for runners who have EDS and or hypermobility. And today is part 2. Today is the letter E. And E stands for educated movement. And as you can tell, I'm sitting on a yoga ball right now. So we are going to be moving and grooving during this episode and talking about ways that I stay active, like besides running, besides like strength training. And we're probably going to touch on physical therapy, because that's just kind of the undercurrent of everything that an EDS human does and a hypermobile human does, is that you're pretty much just like in physical therapy for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. That's just kind of a moot point. But other things that we do throughout the day, movement-wise, that are beneficial, and I have found personally beneficial, and again, we will say, like I did in the first episode, I am not an EDS practitioner. I am not a medical professional when it comes to Ehlers-Danlos or hypermobility. I am a dietitian, but I do not have any expertise in these fields. These are just my personal lived experiences. Please take this with a grain of salt. Don't come after me. I'm just trying my best out here. And these are just my personal things that I found work well for me when it comes to educated movement. The big theme with educated movement, like the big thing that we want to take away from this is, what can I do to move that is good for my body specifically? We're going to come back to the fact that you should probably go to a physical therapist first and figure out where you're at with things. But what are things that I have found in addition to that are beneficial to me when it comes to moving and keeping my body active and also keeping my body comfortable? I will say I am not a human who likes to sit down. Right now I'm sitting on the yoga ball, which is very weird for me. I have a standing desk and we'll go to that soon. But one of the things that I have found the most beneficial for me is just constant gentle movement throughout the day. And this can mean shifting positions. And if you're someone who has EDS, so you're probably like, Julianne, I do that all the time. But being conscious of how you're standing and how you are shifting your positions, being conscious of your posture. Recently, I've really started to be very conscious of my posture, not only when I'm sitting, but when I'm standing, when I'm leaning on things. If you're an EDS human, you probably oh yeah, Julie, I'm constantly leaning on things because our joints aren't the most stable. And we have to be aware of how we're holding ourselves. And sometimes we just need support from an outside object. And that outside object can also include mobility aids. So I'm going to include mobility aids in here. I don't personally use any of them on a regular basis. I have a really strong feeling I'm going to at some point. I actually do have a cane. Let me get my cane. So if I ever do need a cane, I do have a cane. This is my mermaid cane. You hold the mermaid cane by the tits. And you grab left by the tits, my friend, and you have the mermaid cane. But there is absolutely no shame in using a mobility aid. And if you are someone who, when you're standing or when you're sitting, you notice that your joints are dislocating or you're having pain or you're having trouble getting around, finding a mobility aid that works well for you, I think is an absolutely fabulous thing to do. If you can consult with a medical professional and get it covered under your insurance, more power to you. We love that. So don't pay any money that you don't have to, but finding ways to move that are comfortable to you. So that could include, again, being aware of your posture when you're standing, using a mobility aid when you're standing and walking. using a wheelchair if you don't feel like your joints are stable enough and you're dislocating things and you are, maybe it's not even for the whole day. Maybe there are certain parts during the day where you have to use the wheelchair and you're running and you're like, okay, I can run for X amount of time, but then like my joints get kind of and then I have to sit in my wheelchair and wheel around the rest of the day. It's like, obviously don't destroy yourself, but if you feel like that is beneficial to you, I think that that's going to be a great thing. You know, you got to find what works good for you. Being aware of your posture, I would also throw in maybe doing some posture physical therapy exercises, like your classic like wall angels. I'll put at least one link in the description to one of the posture videos that I've been doing. It's something that takes you like maybe like a minute or two a day. And I found it to be just really helpful when it comes to being aware of my posture and also bettering my posture and also reducing the amount of back and neck pain that I have too. So definitely do some posture exercises if you can, and just be aware of how you're sitting and how you are standing, and then use that information to then adapt your space around you, whether it's with a mobility aid, whether it is maybe buying a specific type of chair. Maybe you need like a certain ergonomic chair to make it more comfortable for you to be able to sit. For me, I have a chair pad that I use when I'm in my car. And I also sit on a foam pad when I'm sitting in my kitchen at my kitchen table. It looks crazy, but it is what it is, you know. Finding things that work well for you. In my car, I also have a back pad too. So finding ways to move through your space that are comfortable for you. When you're working, finding a desk that you can move at, that you can stand at. For me, I have a treadmill desk. I have my treadmill set up. So I have my regular treadmill, and then I have the desk portion put over it. So I can walk at like 2-ish miles an hour or a little bit more than that throughout the entire day. And just gentle movement, just like continuously moving. My joints and my body gets really stiff if I am in one position for too long. And then I can start getting that like wonky, like joint subluxation and that wonky joint placement. And like things start slipping out of place if I'm like stuck in one position for too long, and they start getting painful. And so for me, I have found that like gentle movement throughout the day is kind of the key to me feeling my best. Gentle movement along with like having like a walking pad, or maybe just like walking more throughout the day, just taking walking breaks throughout the day, getting a standing desk instead of a sitting desk. It can also include like stretching. Obviously doing stretches for your body that you know are like comfortable and safe, but also just like stretching throughout the day, moving your body, getting those joints stretched out. If you have exercises that you do to kind of like realign different body parts that kind of fall out of place periodically, like building those into your daily routine. So that way it becomes a habit and you don't forget to do it. And so the next day when you go to run, your like hip or your arm or whatever it is, your shoulder isn't out of place, and you can then get up and go running and feel better about it too. And then also you're just like more aware of what's happening. One of the biggest things with like educated movement is body awareness for sure. So the more body awareness that you can gain when it comes to like what it feels like when my joints dislocate, what it feels like when my joints sublux, what it feels like when they're in the correct place, what it feels like when everything is aligned properly, what it feels like when everything's not aligned properly. Being aware of your body, I think like this is the big takeaway from today, my friends. Be aware of your body and its positioning and how you move throughout space. The more aware you are of how you operate in space, which again is a challenging thing for people with EDS because we're very spatially unaware, the more you can be aware of how you exist in space, the better you're going to be able to facilitate educated movement in throughout your day and find ways to just feel better, hopefully, and hopefully run better. Yay! Okay, my friends, that is today's episode of our Bendy Series. And I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and if you'd like to stick around, I'd love to have you. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel right down there. There you go. Woo! Subscribe to the channel, friends. Please and thank you. Love you lots. And Good luck out there. I am so proud of you. I love you so much, and I will see you very soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Runnah. This podcast is edited, hosted, and produced by me, Juliana Coughlin. Brought to you in part by the Falmouth Running Club and the Falmouth Community TV Station. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at RunnahPod, and you can send us an email at runnahpod@gmail.com. And our original theme music was brought to you by the one and the only wonderful Jeffrey Hutton. And keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.